Usually transitioning from football to Dan Harris would make absolutely no sense. But I've just learned that Dan Harris is suddenly a sports fan.
What?
We're going to bring in Dan because he's going to talk about taking good care of yourself during the holidays. The former Weekend GMA anchor, old man Winter himself, now host of the 10% Happier podcast. Dan Harris, I miss you endlessly. It is so great to see your face.
I miss you, too. I did hear earlier in the show that you referred to me as the little guy, so I do have a bone to pick with you.
Yeah, one of Santa's little elves. Dan, okay, so wonderful always to have old friends and family around the holidays, but there can be a lot of stress. The expectations, the perfectionism. Yeah. How can we tackle that and stay sane during all of this?
One of the quickest and most efficient ways to suffer during the holidays is to compare the messiness of your life to the seeming perfection of the people you see on Instagram, for example. So I'm going to give you a couple of ways to turn down the volume on this. One is an expression, it's a little bit clunky, and it comes out of Buddhism. It's called non-attachment to results. Like I said, it sounds a little bit clunky, but it's actually really, really helpful. We can work as hard as we want on our holiday plans, on our holiday travel, but in the end, so many things are out of our control. So can you not be so attached to the results? One expression that I like is, all I can do is everything I can do. And that is a great sanity tip for the holidays.
I love that.
One other thing to say is that you can learn to embrace the mess instead of resisting it. Can you see the humor or the beauty in an awkward holiday party interaction or an overcooked meal? And if you can't see any beauty or humor in it, can you see the beauty in your capacity to be resilient?
There is very little beauty in an overcooked meal, but I understand the sentiment, Dan.
I always try to say, this is going to be a funny story at some point. Let's try to make that point as soon as possible.
Exactly.
This time of year,
Will, I feel like you understand me so much better than Janae does.
That's between you guys.
I'm not in it.
I don't want to get into that, but I do want to get into the idea that while this time of year can be fun, it can also be overwhelming. How do you just generally keep things manageable in terms of obligations and getting stuff for people and all the stuff that comes with holiday season?
There's so much overwhelm. It's one of the biggest complaints at this time of year. And there are some evidence-based ways to manage this. One is there's some research to show that to-do lists can really help reduce overwhelm. If you're making to-do lists and then crossing things off systematically, even if the list is long, it gives you a sense that there are a finite number of things that you have to do. A second tip is to put a half smile on your face. If you're in an uncomfortable conversation or you're waiting on a long line at the airport, putting a half smile on your face sends a signal to your brain that you're actually in a better mood than you might think you are. And then finally, it is okay sometimes to just say no. No, Janae, I will not babysit your children.
That's only because you just want to spend all of your time with me, Dan.
That's true. That is true.
I'm interested in the half smile thing. There's all these little things you can do, including, Dan, you have a breathing exercise for us that I guess is interactive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is something you can do right now, and anybody can do anytime surreptitiously. Nobody needs to know you're doing this. Taking a deep breath in the right way can literally reset your nervous system. So this is something called straw breathing. If you take the deepest inhale possible and do this along with me, it might improve Janae's behavior going forward. Take a deep, deep breath, as deep as you can possibly go. See if you can do it with me. And then you exhale with your lips pursed as if you're blowing through a straw. And the exhale should be 2 or 3 times longer than the inhale. Do this 3 times or more in a stressful situation. It will, as I said before, reset your nervous system.
Well, Dan, this is the perfect way to ask this next question. How do you deal with these problematic people in your family, and you're getting together and you're having these stressful conversations? How do you deal with them?
Yes. Yeah, okay, so I don't want to pretend that this is easy, but there are some tips on boundary setting, and I got many of these from a great therapist named Nedra Glover-Tawwab. And the idea is that you need to be clear and concise when you're setting your boundary with somebody. Don't over-explain yourself, and, use a measured, neutral tone. So you can say, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. And don't be afraid to be repetitive. You can say, you know what, I'm not comfortable talking about this subject. Can we move on? Or no, Janae, I will not disinfect your TV remote for you. Whatever it is, you can just say it nice and simply and repetitive.
You know, Dan, I want to be mean to you, but you bring such good information that really is useful. And it is such a stressful time with the holidays. Everyone is dealing with so much. And the little breathing tip you gave us, setting boundaries, those things are so
By the way, there are
important.
no boundaries between you two.
There are no boundaries. Because when I try to set them, he's pushing them. But Dan, we appreciate you so much. And it's so great to see your face, little guy.
Oh.
Love you guys. Even when you make fun of me, I love you even more. Happy holidays to all of you.
Thank
you too,
you.
Dan. Thank
All
you.
right, Dan. And you can check out Dan's website, danharris.com, for more information.